Princess of the Amazons. I won't be denied.
Hello everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the DC fan site that'll have plot synopsis and character bios for this issue. I'm so glad that DC Bullet is back. I can't help but always say that I love this logo and I miss this logo, and I'm so glad it's back. We're finally caught up. Absolute Wonder Woman #6. Starting from now, Wonder Woman, the Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman, and Absolute Wonder Woman will be just done monthly. But I've been trying to play catch up, so I know you guys have seen a lot of these coming up. So this is from 2025, and amazing cover. I really like that. Hayden Sherman, however, does not do the art inside, and it is quite different. We have the variant covers here. Here's by Sean Murphy. I don't know who this dude is, but a lot of these covers now are more like pinups than anything else. They don't really tell you what's going on inside. And this one by Dustin Nguyen, and you're going to see 2 little short stories inside of this. So already you can see that this is very different here. So someone here is speaking to Diana and says, "Kneel, princess," and let's see that pretty face. And so she's going to take off her helmet. Throne room of Hades, the underworld now. Lovely. "Princess, you cannot leave the underworld," he says. And now, this is a different look of what you would think Hades would look like. So, as Diana on her knees here. The Lady or the Tiger, part 1 of 2. So, Kelly Thompson, still the writer. However, this Mattia De Iulis, apparently Italian is what it is, the artist, and it looks beautiful. So he is most likely penciling and coloring it. So pencils, inks, and colors are all done by that dude. So Wonder Woman, very defiant, says, "Except I did." And Hades, or Pluto, I think it's Pluto in Greek. No, I don't know. We'll have to. Is Pluto Roman? That could be. Same dude. And Hades says, "Yes, you did, and we'll be getting to how you did that in short order. But first, why did you not remove her weapons?" He's talking to his servant here, and he says, "She had none, sire." And Hades says, "Nearly everything she's wearing is a weapon, you fool. Disarm yourself, princess." So Wonder Woman says, I am surprised, sire. You are a god, and yet you fear my weapons." And so curiosity rules this more than fear, I'd say. And so as you can see her taking off pretty much everything. I wonder if that's what the stories will say, she says. "I see you, but I hear your mother's tongue, unfortunate." And so Wonder Woman says, "May I keep my boots, sire?" And he says, "You may, if only to speed things up." So better. And so she has taken off all things here. And Hades says, "Do you think I can't smell an enchanted pouch? The magic coming off that thing might as well have a cartoonish stink lines. Empty it." And a funny line's coming up here. "I never imagined you as a fan of cartoons, sire. That tongue, Cersei has sharpened it a bit too far, princess." And Wonder Woman says, "Perhaps it was also sharpened by circumstance." And Hades says, "My statement stands." And Hades says, "Just what every growing girl needs, I see." "Bring me the lasso," he tells his servant. And Wonder Woman says, I'd advise against that, sire. And Hades says, I'm sure you would. And so when the creature touches it, you can see he kind of electrocuted her. And so she says, none may wield the nemesis lasso but me, my liege. Um, Beautiful art, so much different. We would not have crafted such dangerous weapons in such a dangerous place unless we could be certain they would not be misused by others. You and she screams out, my mother, or not really screams out, but just says it sharply, have been busy, he says. When you live in a place that constantly tries to kill you, weapons become second nature, sire. You can see that devilish smile here. The eyes are not quite the same here. You can see this one's a little bit turned more, but um, when I draw, I try to get my eyes to match up. But not too bad when you don't look at that too closely here. And so Hades says, tell me what this nemesis lasso is made from. And so Wonder Woman says, when I was very little, Circe used to send me on small errands around our island. Little things like gathering pointless weeds, which I'm now certain she threw away when I wasn't looking. When I was older, she would send me for more dangerous items that she needed. The feathers of a firebird, that frequented our islands in the spring, she puts in quotations here, or ancient bones from the floor of the wild sea. It was only when she sent me to Prometheus that I began to understand the true scope of my mother's vision. And so, in the past year, Mount Prometheus on the borders of myth and reality, and so you see her climbing, beautifully done. It was called something else before, but as long as I have been alive, it has been known as Mount Prometheus. And so, climbing, again, beautifully done. And I suppose when you chain a titan to a mountain to torture him for eternity, sorry, beautiful use of lights, darks, just really nice. I like this. I like this image. It does become his mountains, and here is Prometheus. And look at her. This is such a good page. Just there, and then just again the light hits her. It's fantastic. This is fantastic. This is the first I've only seen this dude, his art, once in this issue, and I love him already, and I'm gonna look to see if there's anything else from him. And Wonder Woman says, "O Themis and fair Dyke, my blood spilled in your honor," and she cuts herself. "Hear me in the name of all who are unjustly bound. Bless this axe that it may strike true in thy name of justice." And she screams, "I ask your forgiveness, Lord Prometheus," and she throws the hammer, hitting his chains. "Forgiveness for the inadequacy, I confess. I have not the power to free you permanently, but I thought a respite might be welcome." And he says, "Indeed, princess." And so here comes that eagle, and Wonder Woman says, "Hello, sister. I wonder if I might persuade you not to eat from my friend anymore. I know, but even," so as he screams, she says, "I know, but even gods are sometimes wrong. Do you not also find that to be true?" And so Wonder Woman, so gentle and so she's really good. I like her. The character of Wonder Woman in the Absolute Universe is the same as it is in the main universe. So people may not like, you can not like Absolute Wonder Woman, but you can't say that she doesn't behave like Wonder Woman, because she totally does. So and I like Absolute Wonder Woman. So anyway, Wonder Woman says, thank you, sister. Might I ask you to pass the message to your friends? You will have the thanks and friendship of Diana, witch of the Wild Isle, for all my days," she says. And so off goes the eagle. And Wonder Woman says, I'm confident she and all those she knows will not return. But that does not mean nothing else will come. Again, I apologize for my limitations. Zeus's decrees are difficult to maneuver around, even for those of us who know the way, she says. And finally, she says, drink as much as you like. It will replenish as you do. And Prometheus says, Circe has always been clever. I'm happy to see she has not lost a step since being trapped in the underworld. And I'm even happier to see that her daughter's is much the same, he says. And so I assume he's drinking alcohol. I could not imagine, because it's raining, that he would actually be drinking water, but that is so neat that it just keeps replenishing there. And Wonder Woman says, thank you, Lord Prometheus. You honor me with your words, but my presence here is not unselfish. And he says, you wish for something in return? Yes, but only if it is no trouble to you. Well, let us see, princess. Ask for your boon. And she says as she bows, a vial of your blood, Prometheus, a part of you, champion of humanity, their greatest ally and protector, to power a weapon of fire and justice. I pledge in my own name and the name of my mother, Circe, sorceress of the Wild Isle, that I will use such a weapon with only good intentions and in the service of protecting humanity from monsters, including the gods, should it come to that, she says. And as the lightning strikes here, and again, the use of the lights, this dude is a great artist. Just absolutely wonderful. And she says, strike the tip of my finger so that you may have my flesh and my blood for your weapons. And perhaps something else too, she says. And Wonder Woman, love this look here and the way he draws the hair. Very good here. I'm not worthy of this gift, Prometheus. And Prometheus says, but it is exactly what you are worthy of, princess. Do you forget that, like your mother, I too can see the future. You have a dangerous path ahead, and I wish to aid you. Will you accept it? And she says, I will, thank you. You can see the tears in her eyes. This is just wonderful. And she says, good, then strike my finger with your axe. Make certain the blood flies. And so she does, and she takes a little bit of the tip, and she says, bless this offering of flesh and blood in Hecate's name. And so may it bring justice to the world as Prometheus so divines. The blood of Prometheus, god of fire, fire of life, we thank you for your sacrifice. And Prometheus says, Diana, look, my last gift to you. And she's kind of like, what the? Rise, great one. And so we are going to get now, once born from the blood of Medusa, eventually betrayed and killed by Zeus, now reborn of my blood, and a cry of justice on the very wind. Rise up, Pegasus, and live again. So now we know why Pegasus is a sack of bones. So this is a dangerous game to play with a god who already has you chained, says Diana. I delight in spitting in his eye, as should we all. You climbed this treacherous mountain to hide the scope of your powers from those looking closely. But you should fly home. Pegasus, like so many, have been radicalized by injustice. You will make a fine pair. And she says, I'm forever in your debt, Lord Prometheus. And so she flies here on the Pegasus wonderful panel here. The gods are full of surprises. In my experience, they are usually horrific surprises, but occasionally they remind you of their true potential, she says. And so back now in the throne room, though not today perhaps. And Hades says, the arrogance of youth, it's almost charming. And Wonder Woman says, this lasso, Nemesis you called it, It is made of much more than just Prometheus. I sense something else, something dark and venomous. And Wonder Woman answers Hades, and I like the crown just floating above him. Yes, basilisk, she says. And I want to keep saying the devil, but it's obviously not. Um, and so Hades says, "You killed the last basilisk," and she said, "Yes." And Hades says, "As a trophy, this seems a bit savage for all your talk of justice, princess." And she says, "I do not kill for trophies. The basilisk's soul was soaked in the blood of the innocent." And Hades says, "Yes, well, aren't we all?" And she says, "But that is not why I killed it. Zeus, apparently angry that I was still alive, had tasked it with killing me. It regularly appeared on the Wild Isle trying to fulfill its mission." And so again in the past here, the cave of the last basilic. I had decided it would be better to surprise it in its own lair, so I tracked it down until it laid its head down to rest. A look from the basilisk is lethal, and so to see its eyes is certain death. It is that a literal fact or simply poetry about the danger impossible to know, and he opens their eyes. And so before I entered, I used magic to blind myself. That is so freaking cool. This dude cannot get his eyes right. For all his talent, he is not getting the eyes correctly. At least to me. Does it look correct to you? This yeah, no, they're not but the lips are really good. And he has to be just referencing, because if he was photoshopping these eyes would be perfect. So, in some ways, being unable to see was not a weakness. And so the basilisk says, "Princess." And so, and it still had a weakness to exploit. And so he tries to get her, but she runs, and she takes uh, something out of her pouch here. A basilisk is highly sensitive to certain smells, and a witch who can blind herself is more than capable of manipulating smell. And so she takes that scent, and it looks like she hits him with it to enhance it 10,000-fold. And he's like, "Hiss." A scent that would drive even the most sensible of creatures into frenzy. Of course, I had removed my own sense of smell before entering, so. And great image here. And Wonder Woman is going to run toward it. And I love this instead of showing it. That is so cool. The blood here. And then all of a sudden it's beheaded. And Wonder Woman says, "Rest easy, Basilisk. May you find the peace that eluded you in this world in the next one." And so back in the throne of Hades. And Hades says, "The last basilisk, and naturally you and your mother harvested the body, the venom, all of it." And she smiles here and says, "Naturally, a witch never lets anything go to waste, a mark of both respect and conservation." Yes, I'm sure the basilisk appreciated your conservation. And Wonder Woman says, "It's less about the basilisk and more about the wider world I find." And Hades says, "Well, this has been very educational, if theoretical." And Wonder Woman says, "Theoretical? You think I did not do these things?" And Hades says, "Not at all. But let's see how you feel about conservation when it's more personal. When applied more personally to you." And she goes, "Mother," and look at the tears again in the eyes. And there is Cersei. At last, no more smart remarks from that too sharp tongue. "We all have weaknesses, princess. Yours was quite easy to pinpoint." And Hades watches her next the arena. But I'm just going to show you this. There's two little, tiny little short stories. Each one is just a page. And they're done by Dustin Gwynn, who does Little Batman. And so he's got Little Diana. And she's getting training with Cersei here. Just concentrate, Diana. This is your first transmogrification spell. You must focus. I know, Mama. And so she says something. Diana, what is that? And she looks. Yay, look how happy he is. Diana, that is not in the spirit of what we discussed, says Cersei. I know, but it's what he said he always wanted to be. Isn't it nice we can do that magic now? Now that he's happy, maybe he won't be so naughty. Let's transform everything, as she chases it and she sighs here. I love Dustin Gwynn. I love this, his watercolor art. Oh my God, he does this book with Jeff Lemire, Ascender and Descender. I strongly recommend those. And so in the last of the 2-page stories here, I warned you last time as Diana hits this little thing here. You only have yourself to blame as he kicks it. Now open up. And so, are you guys okay? Everyone out. So he has followed these little demons. And so, you guys have got to be more careful. What if I hadn't found you this time? So, there we go. So, Absolute Wonder Woman number 6 by Kelly Thompson and Mattia De Iulis, I believe. I do apologize for that. But I love his art, and I got to find out what else this dude has done. Like and subscribe, and I do thank you for listening, and I hope you really are enjoying this because I like it. So I'm going to continue with Absolute Wonder Woman, even if nobody watches it. Goodbye.